Hello, my name is Weldon Crump, and today I will be giving a proposal on econometric volatility models. Today I'd like to focus on the Garch-Midas model. This is a combination of two models, the Garch model being a model for more short-term predictions of volatility and the Midas model being for long-term predictions of volatility. And this is both good because the Garch model focuses on things such as news that gives or tariff indications, which could give some uncertainty within a market and make people react desperately. And the Midas model shows more of a long-term effect, such as interest rates, mutual funds, or Federal Reserve actions. And to show this better, we have two models here. The top one being the real prediction and outcome of what's to come, as in 2023 to 2026. And on the bottom, we have a model of the Garch model, the Midas, and the Garch Midas model. This dotted blue line, we can see just the Midas model as a straight line, as it's just a general model. If you look closer, you see a smaller dotted blue line kind of following this, but a little less accurate to what's happening up here. And you can see that when we combine these two things, we get almost a mirror image on some parts of these models, as of right here, which is almost identical to the volatility which just happened. And as continuing, we have this pretty accurate model of what's to come. How can this change the career of what's to come for financial professionals and hedge fund analysts? The answer to that is both complicated and not complicated. As before, if you wanted to choose a model, you had to take the sacrifice of doing one or the other. For example, if you did a short-term model, you kind of had to give up on things such as the interest rates being included, the Federal Reserve actions, and if you did a long term, it'd be counterclockwise, to where you didn't get to take in conclusion to major changes in news and this political uncertainty. But now with both of this, we kind of have this unified view of risk where we've got this all together and we don't have to take that sacrifice like we did before, which is going to heavily change how we look at things as financial analysts. And how can someone in the field of business take this as effect? This proposal is mainly focusing on gold futures, but for the greater knowledge of portfolio management, we can see that this is going to help predict markets way more accurately. And it's going to show how we can better spread our wealth within something and more focus on gold in markets such as that. And so there's less uncertainty being as we have a better idea of what's affecting these markets. A research article from the National Natural Science Foundation of China showed that market gold price mainly focuses on this economic and political uncertainty, which is something I have a lot more experience with and what I've made most of my decisions and predictions based on. And it shows that the more uncertain we are, the more volatile market gets. For example, around April this year, when tariffs were first announced of the rates and the list was given, gold completely crashed. And the Garch model would have shown that prediction to come, and the Midas would have shown what's to come right after, which was a slow upturn of recovering, because it wasn't necessarily an action of the economy that ruined everything for it. It was just the uncertainty, what we didn't know. And that fear is what led to that. And it's going to show in things such as index funds and currency hedging, just because it's such a monetary value. We also find from evidence in the Thailand Future Exchange that volatility volatility heavily affects margin requirements and how much companies are willing to put into this investment and how much they're not. For example, future gold future average daily trading has gone to about 16,000 a day, which is 16% more than we found in 2017. And to better emphasize that, in about 2018, we had about 300 gold contracts, which is an absurd amount. But in 2018, we had 4.5 million made, which is showing how this volatility is growing more rapidly and it's becoming an area that we want to study more and more because it's going to have a much greater effect on the market than it did just a little while ago. And to focus, this doesn't only affect the gold price itself. This shows how the gold price is reflecting on human emotions, this human uncertainty, as we see that it mainly focuses people's fear or their optimism and their general volatile activity. And this can better help knowing how these predictions made, how this uncertainty affects is going to help us make better decisions as quant financial analysts and hedge fund managers. And overall give us a better rate of return on certain funds, most particularly futures, but also index funds, as it'll be more certain as we can apply these practices to these things. If you would like to see the sources I've used for this proposal, they're all laid out here. These are mostly research papers that I've taken and used and referenced for this presentation. And I hope this proposal has given you a better idea on the Garch-Midas model itself and made you interested in future valuation itself.